My name is Magnus Karlsson. I'm a consultant, currently working at Epiroc, but today I'm representing myself, talking about what I learned the last 10 years working in large-scale enterprise organizations and rebuilding teams, platforms, business models to get this view of how do we use technology in a business context in a really what we try to at least a good way. So we call this history, as I've been directed to have as a subject of IT organizations and how we to grow lean while creating a dynamic enterprise. All right. The tech, why is it important? How many in here work within tech? Right? Okay, so how many of you would say you work more in a business context of it? Like you focus on sales and all of these things, right? Okay, so it's 80-20, 20 business, 20 tech. And you all know the things we can do with tech. It's at least I feel there are so many untapped wells that you can get so much value from. And this is AI for product flow, it's the automation marketing, but maybe you're actually missing a value so you can't do it. There's always so much we can do, but it's always a small bit to it actually feeling really good. And that's what I will talk about today, what I think is the discrepancy between how we can do it and where we are today. So no secret, this is exactly what I will be going through. I just said why I think this is important to talk about. I will continue to say how do we identify if there is a problem, what are the common ways we know it? How do we believe this problem exists? Then I will go through a longer set of slides where I try to explain this is the way IT organizations grow, and that's grow from the smallest part where you buy an application until you actually have a full-scale enterprise with 10,000 people within tech only. Then we end with trying to summarize how do I believe we solve these large-scale organizations so that we can get as much business value from what we invest in tech as possible. So how does the problem manifest? A lot of the warning signs that I hear. General complaints is always the number one. People saying no, tech's not working. This is bad. I mean, it could be someone not performing themselves. They want to push it out to someone else, but it's always something to it because otherwise you see a response. Tickets. I hate tickets because it's literally the end of conversations. Peter knows what I'm talking about. It's also how we refer to work being done, and that is, of course, okay, but many times it's the death of conversation. Create a ticket, and that's where you start work. Create a ticket. You should define it, and then I will continue the work on how you defined it. But that is the opposite of conversations. So that's the next conversations. We want to talk about things because we're human, building this together. On the other hand, we build silos, and in these silos, we need to align and we need to focus on ourselves, our managers, our goals. On the third end, no end-to-end responsibility. And that's very, very common. You start a work, you try to do it, you get a bit into the way, and then you say, we're blocked. And then you go focus on something else. You lose your flow, the engagement that you have with the people being part of the delivery. All of this always come back when we talk about Agile as well. 2010, I started doing a lot of Agile transformations. It was very hot right then. It was the new word, the new kid on the block. And we still talk about it, too much. We're literally not there yet. We still say, oh, we want to be more agile. But I mean, it's like 14 years later and people still say we should be agile now. So why do you feel? Does anyone recognize these problems? Like, anyone take a stab at it?
It's a 56K modem that we used to connect to the internet with.
Sorry, once again?
It's a 56K modem we used to connect to the internet with.
Yeah, exactly. You have bad technology.
Sorry?
It could be bad technology.
It could be.
Yes.
Timing used to be good.
Yeah. Maybe it's worth something though. Anyone else?
Well, from my experience, mainly maybe two things. One is you fail to like map architecture to the business. So when a business evolves, the architecture and technology can't evolve with the business, so it becomes a bottleneck for like innovation and business development.
Yeah.
And agile, I think, it's a common view. If you are working agile with development, then you have an agile business, which you of course don't. So
Yeah.
those are two things I believe.
Really good responses. I think it could be that and a lot of other things. For it to feel good, for us to understand, we have a business and we have a tech organization. It's somewhere integrated, it's somewhere separated. It's always about expectations. And that's what we need to start to do. We need to align around the expectations so that we know. Because you can say something costs a lot of money, but maybe that's just what you asked for. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe it actually costs that much. Maybe you need to lower your expectations then and do something less if you want it to be cheaper. If there is, let me see, if you have a lack of trust, maybe you're supposed to talk more, etc. It always comes back to the expectations if someone is not up to the task. So I would say IT and tech projects need to stop hiding behind like, we are tech, we are doing this. Business, they need to engage more, accept that if I don't engage with tech, I only buy something, I am not engaged in it, I'm going to get how much my engagement is part of this as well. If you're going to outsource everything and just be the owner, you're not even showing up at the steerco. I mean, what would be delivered? It will be delivered exactly what the people doing. They will just like continue with the funding you give them. So these things like aligning the business and tech, and that's so good you said organization, because every people talk about business, they talk about tech, but it's actually organization as the third part here. You need to organize business and tech together, like how the company is built and how you work together and who reports to who and why. All of these things need to come together. You can't only do architecture, you can't only do business, you can't only have a offshore model. It needs to be in such a way that you can maintain a conversation, that you understand that you can take responsibility end to end. So this might be impossible due to organizations, and that's I see all the time. We organize very much functional within IT. Large companies, you have like, there's a team for every little thing. If you want to build a platform, you need to talk to 25 people, all master of their own domain. So how do we end up here? Why are we in that problem with the organization? So if you are a buyer, the simplest model where we buy IT or tech capabilities to our business is that you have a few business requirements and then you find a vendor that can support you with them. The vendor have a SaaS platform, as it's popular called today. You get the SLAs, all the buyers of this have the same features as any other buyer. You differentiate nothing from your competitors. You have a license cost maybe built into this. Then you There's a configuration, infrastructure, support operations, whatever is done within this platform, you just buy it and you get it out of the box. Let's say you scale it up a little bit. You get a product that has a bit of configuration, and then you actually have a person at your company that becomes responsible of the application. They work with configuring this, making it work for your needs. Now we start to like get a bit into the organization here, something that's very, very important as well. The capability within your organization to maintain competence, because when you offshore things, you're not only offshoring the delivery of something, you share a lot of your business requirements with this organization, and that's knowledge that you build up outside your company. And this also needs to be tracked all the way through this organization. Moving from SaaS to like a licensed platform, it could be a license of a CMS system that you want to run on your own servers. You pay your vendor a license fee. You need IT people now because you need to support your infrastructure. Slowly you're building up an organization within your business, and they can say, we make sure IT runs, but we only install it and we run it and we're happy with it. Moving on even further, I need more applications. My business is growing. I need to integrate these applications. So within IT, I create an integration team responsible of maintaining the technical integrations of the platforms. We get some support and operations on the things we install. We start to get more differentiated application responsible within the business. Maybe in different divisions, the silos are already born, and all I have is 2 platforms. Because IT is now in the center of things. Building and developing your organization, your core business is now pretty much already at this stage owned by IT. So then you continue. Now you start to building custom applications. You do some development, app maintenance. The red boxes is that you buy them outsourced. This is not in-house developed. But as you start to develop these applications, maybe you have a partner that develops them for you, and then you bring them in-house and you maintain them within IT. Now you're actually also starting to collect a lot of data. So you have a data and analytics team doing everything, understanding like the users. It could be we integrate a SaaS platform like Google Analytics, as is the previous platform. We might install a data lake, and maybe the data lake is actually its own team within IT. So now we have grow this even further. And we want to make this agile now, because the last model didn't actually cover for all the things we need to do here. We started to overflow IT with what we need to do. So now we start, okay, we want to be agile. We're replacing our application responsible that is only responsible of getting this application in from our vendors. So we do our product owners, and they can oversee and make sure that they track the backlog, prioritize the sprints. We move out to the cloud, and then suddenly where's IT within the cloud now? Of course, IT should be managed by, the cloud should be managed by IT, because that's where we buy and have these capabilities. At this step, we actually grow this even further. Our product owner now said, we want a mix of in-house developers and external resources. We want to be able to know that the competence that we build up, the knowledge about our business, how it's done when it's implemented in tech, is actually something we can manage within human resources here at our company. And then we still have IT managing, building all of these things. The application up here, it's no longer just like a few applications. It's actually a landscape of applications. I've seen maps with hundreds of applications, not uncommon that you have over 500 different applications across the domains. Who wants to oversee 500 applications? I can say you don't want to do that. The amount of work is huge. But still, if you start to bring in your developers and you start to build your competence in-house, it's no longer within the IT organization only anymore. It starts to be in this business tech organization, the combination of them. And this is what I say is growing a lot now. The Spotify model is one of the best examples that I've seen on it, like presented on YouTube at least. I'm not sure how it is in the real world, but they are doing these things because they are creating self-running teams that can do things end to end. I know from a few people that explained it to me that they make a lot of IT governance rather than one organization controlling everything. So it's more like a decentralized way to do this. And when you have this application responsible and product owners, you can actually start to have an IT support that can help everyone that's small. So if small business units have an application that is like, we need half a full-time resource for this, then you actually have the IT support to do this and help with it. If you want to move to the cloud and you have like 1,000 developers, maybe all consultants, maybe all employees, doesn't really matter. But you might need a center of excellence, be able to provide these teams, people that actually get a lot of backing and know exactly how the end stage should look in this enterprise. And then IT governance, that's a hard part. It's hard for IT to let go of the control of actually having all of the development done within IT. When this started, I've seen it go from becoming like an agile promise until agile being transformed into things like scaled agile framework. I don't know, you can do scaled agile framework, but it's extremely process like. You start with a task, and since it needs to be planned 4 months ahead to be in your quarter where you can break it down and deliver it at the same time as the other product teams in 4 other organizations. It's nothing agile with that. It's just like a huge process on top of what looks like the agile templates that you would use to get the conversation going from the first place. So what are the key takeaways with this? If it's too complex, expensive, time-consuming, maybe decentralizing and focus on governance with less controls are the way forward for IT. To connect business with tech is imminent for this. You need to make sure that you have the business involved with what you do. If you don't drive that from wherever you are in the organization, you're part of the problem. All of us in tech needs to stop saying, oh, okay, I will just keep working on it, because then we just continue this culture, and that's what needs to change. We need to build a culture of collaboration and not a culture of processes, because we don't really like the processes. They are super inefficient, and we always complain about them, or someone is complaining about them, and then we're part of a complaining company. We don't want to be that. We want to be in fun companies. So what I would say a good tech organization is, it's fast, cost efficient, secure, consider doing the right things. And if you don't see that, that's literally a warning signal already, wherever you are. History repeats itself. With the same structures, behaviors, we get again what we got before. And you can never be agile if this is not fixed, and the total cost and loss in getting business capabilities out are enormous for this.